Every morning across America, the same thing happens. A door opens. A child walks to the end of a driveway, and a vehicle appears at the end of the street in a color so specific, so consistent, so utterly unchanged across 8 decades that you could close your eyes and describe it perfectly without ever having studied it. Yellow. Not pale yellow, not golden yellow, not school bus yellow the way you might loosely describe it. A precise, specific, regulated shade with an official government name and a federal standard that every manufacturer in the country is legally required to match exactly. You have seen this color 10,000 times. You have never once questioned it. But somebody chose it, on a specific day, in a specific room, for reasons that go far deeper than making buses easy to spot. Before 1939, there was no standard. School buses existed across America in various forms since the early 1900s, but they were not a unified system. They were a patchwork. Rural counties in Georgia ran converted farm wagons with bench seats bolted to the bed. Districts in Ohio had purpose-built vehicles in whatever color the local manufacturer happened to use. Some buses were white, some were red, some were dark green, some were unpainted entirely. There was no federal oversight of school transportation, no national safety standards, no agreement between states on what a school bus should look like or how it should be built. A child in Mississippi climbed into something completely different from a child in Minnesota, and both vehicles carried the same name. The consequences were predictable. Accidents were common and often fatal. Visibility was poor. Drivers of other vehicles had no universal visual signal that told them children were present. And because every district made its own decisions about vehicle design, the problem was impossible to solve at the local level. It needed someone to step back and see the whole picture. That someone was a Columbia University professor named Frank Sear. Frank Sear was not an engineer. He was an educator, a rural education specialist who spent his career studying how children in remote American communities were being left behind by inadequate school infrastructure. In 1938, he received a grant from the Rockefeller Foundation to study school transportation safety across the country. He spent months gathering data from every state, accident reports, visibility studies, near-miss records, manufacturing specifications from every bus builder operating in America at the time. What he found was a system in chaos, 48 states each doing something different, no shared language around safety, no shared standards around construction, and no shared color that would tell every driver on every road in every condition that a vehicle carrying children was present. Sear decided the solution was a national conference. He invited representatives from every state Department of Education, plus bus manufacturers, plus safety researchers, to gather at Columbia University in April 1939. 44 states sent delegates. The conference lasted 7 days. On the agenda was everything: seat height, aisle width, door placement, mirror requirements, lettering standards, emergency exit specifications. And then there was the color. The color debate was not simple. Delegates arrived with opinions. Some wanted white for maximum visibility in all lighting conditions. Some wanted red for its traditional association with danger and warning. Some wanted orange. Some argued that no single color could perform well across all the conditions American school buses operated in. Early morning darkness, afternoon glare, winter fog, rain. The decision came down to science rather than preference. A paint manufacturer attending the conference presented data on color visibility under different lighting conditions. The research examined which colors the human eye detects fastest at the edges of its field of vision. Not straight ahead where attention is already focused, but in the periphery where a distracted driver first catches movement. The answer was yellow. Specifically, a yellow shifted slightly toward orange. Not pure yellow, which can wash out in bright daylight and can be confused with headlight glare at night. A yellow with enough orange in it to retain warmth and contrast across a much wider range of lighting conditions. The peripheral vision advantage of yellow over white was calculated at the conference to be significant enough at highway speeds to add meaningful reaction time for a driver who had not yet consciously noticed the bus. The math translated into feet of stopping distance. The feet of stopping distance translated into lives. The specific shade was named on the spot, National School Bus Chrome, later updated and renamed National School Bus Glossy Yellow when chrome-based paints were phased out. The name changed, the color did not. What makes the decision remarkable is not just that it was made, it is that it has held for 85 years without serious challenge. Paint technology changed, bus manufacturing changed, safety regulations evolved through multiple generations of federal oversight. The Department of Transportation absorbed school bus standards into a national framework in the 1970s. New requirements were layered on top of the 1939 foundation decade after decade. The color was never revisited. Not because nobody thought to question it, because every time researchers ran the visibility studies, the same answer came back. That specific shade of yellow still outperforms every alternative in peripheral detection across the widest range of lighting and weather conditions. The 1939 decision was not lucky, it was correct, and correct answers do not need updating. Today, every school bus in America must be painted to a specific federal color standard. The standard specifies not just the hue, but the exact light reflectance value. Manufacturers are tested against it. Replacement paint sold for bus maintenance has to match it. A school bus painted the wrong shade of yellow is technically out of compliance with federal transportation standards. One color, one shade, enforced across a fleet of roughly 480,000 vehicles operating in every state. All of it traceable back to a 7-day meeting in New York in 1939, and a paint manufacturer with visibility data that nobody in the room could argue with. Think about what that color has actually been doing every morning for 85 years. Not announcing itself, not asking to be noticed, just being the specific frequency of light that the human eye catches fastest when it is not yet paying attention. Landing on the retina of a driver whose mind is somewhere else before the conscious brain has registered that anything is there. By the time that driver sees the bus, they have already seen the color. The reaction has already started. The foot has already begun to move. Frank Sear died in 1995. He was called the father of the yellow school bus in his obituaries. He had spent 50 years watching the standard he helped create protect a generation of children he would never meet. He picked a color, and the color kept doing its job long after he was gone.